That's when the event center went down. Congresswoman Good Fox and I went on a tour with the gaming commission about 2 weeks ago, and the new casino, and it is amazing. The gaming floor is amazing, and that'll be the end of August, I believe. It'll be a soft opening. That was the groundbreaking for the Roundhouse. That was pictures of me back when I was about 4 years old. The other pictures of that roundhouse. And that's what it looks like on the inside after it's been renovated. And there's a ribbon cutting for it. I have 6 children, and that's my only daughter, Penny, and she participates in lots of things throughout the nation. Here we are at Grey Horse, community building for there's one of our cattle out on Blue Stem Ranch. We have a cattle brain just like ON, but I kind of hope we can move into the orthography and using that with our cattle brain. I'm a member of the Osage Veterans Memorial Commission, and this is the design for the memorial that is not quite, we haven't broke ground yet, and there's the Veterans Memorial Commission members meeting. It's kind of some logos that were designed for us. This is a bill that I did to establish elder parking on our Osage campus and any of our grounds where we have, and that's a picture of me with some elders, and I often attend their elders advisors. This is really messing up. Elder advisory committee meetings. That's the hominy. That's our last dance last year, right before Congresswoman Good Fox and I were cooks, and there's the rest of our committee cooks. And we were very sentimental about everything last summer, which we always have a good time, but we're extremely sentimental about this building and everything because it's all going to be new this year. And we've been in that building for a very long time and had many events. So there we are at the groundbreaking for, that's the design for the Hominy Village, expanding the arbor. And then it moves into veterans initiatives that I have attended. This is down with the Chickasaw Nation. They have a yearly conference for veterans. This is when we moved into the, out of our chambers and offices that we were up on the hill, and we now have our offices down at the First National Bank downtown, right there. So this is the staff and I kind of documented our move as we went down there, and I really like it there. So that's where we hold our sessions now. I don't know. It's up off of the balcony. And we fly a giant Osage flag on top of the building there now, so. There's my office up there, my children. They really like to go to Mama's workhouse. They call it Mama's workhouse. And so they always want to stop by. This is the topping off ceremony for the Tulsa Casino expansion. So we got to sign the beam. The appropriation is done for Hominy, fire truck in Hominy. And here's where our first bison arrived, out at the Blue Stem Ranch. Took a really long time to get him out of that truck. But there's the first one. So I think we have about 20, is it 20, 22? 40? Now, but that's the original at the time when they first came. There was 20 that were delivered that day. I was invited to attend the White House Veterans Affairs Conference and met the Vice President that day with many leaders across the country. So that was, and speak directly with the Secretary of the VA and many others to advocate for Osage veterans. And that's me in Ryan Zinke's office. And I left him a note in his inbox to please expedite and approve all land into trust for the Osage Nation, but that hasn't quite happened yet. But and there's a selfie we did with the Vice President. It's the Hominy Wellness Center, and that's the groundbreaking day. As speaker, I often ask to speak at these events, and we will do the ribbon cutting next week. There's Congress members in the Christmas parade last year in Pawhuska. We get the staff decorated really nicely for Christmas, and we opened up, well, it's always open, but it was open up to share with anyone who wanted to stop by Christmas. And this is at the ribbon cutting for the new domestic violence women's shelter. And as well as that's me with my 6 children. They're all ages. That's my son, Eddie. We call him Honeybee. He just turned 7. This is just a little bit about me. I'm a huge Broncos fan. I'm from Hominy, and this is my favorite football player. Even though I love the Broncos, Clay Matthews is my favorite football player. I live in Skiatook, Oklahoma, and I cross the lake every day, and I stop and take a picture of that guy because that's what I wish I was doing all the time. I didn't land that flip, but here's the day I filed for re-election. Those are what my signs look like, and that's a cake that was done, and let's sit down. So, anyways, I just wanted to, I'm going to grab this paper real quick. So that was just a little bit about what I've done in the last 4 years, what my colleagues have done, and that so it takes a lot of planning to make all of that happen, and so those are things that I've supported, and just a lot of events. I'm very involved with the community and work as much as I can, so I just wanted to share that with you. For the past 4 years, I've had the honor and privilege of serving our Osage people, and I believe that I have worked as hard as I can and given the time and effort that I believe that elected officials should for their people. That is the expectation that I would have in choosing someone to lead myself and my family, my 6 children. I have often said throughout this campaign that, I dove in as soon as I was elected in 2014 and got involved as much as I can. I wanted to hold myself accountable to attending many meetings and being as involved as I could. And I often say that I've been on every standing committee, but I actually did that simultaneously, every standing committee, my first 2 years, and that was just to ensure myself and be as involved as I could. So I have also had the honor of being elected as Speaker of our Congress by my colleagues in September 2016, and was re-elected as Speaker in April 2017. So it's been about a year and a half now, I guess, that I have, a little over a year and a half that I've been Speaker. And I believe that I've provided good leadership to my colleagues, and have tried very hard to communicate with the executive branch. And I don't want to get off of kind of like my organization of how, what my talk is and what I want you to learn about me, but it's some things that other candidates, because I know what it's like coming in. I'm running as an incumbent, so you have that institutional knowledge, but coming in as someone who hasn't been on Congress before, I listen to a lot of things that they say, and I really like a lot of things that they have to say, but it's not like, and I'm not taking this as anyone is directing it at me. I'm just saying it's a lot more difficult than just having ideas. And because we all have good ideas. I've sat on Congress with Congress members who bring something to the table and say, you know, the executive branch, the chief thinks this is a good idea. And I think everybody has really good ideas. But can we afford them? Is there planning for them? And things like that. So and it takes all of us, it takes the communication to make that happen. So I think a lot of people have great ideas, but are they sustainable? And so, for instance, if there was a time, and you know, I hear them say, you know, it takes strong people, and it does. And it's easy to say that right now, but I believe that I have proven, and as well as others, but proven that you have the strength that it takes. Because I can't imagine that anyone wouldn't say that when they're running for office, but once you get there, you know, I've seen that change. I've seen that change in people I serve with. And so there was a time that the gaming, I'll use one piece for instance, there was a time that it was brought to the Congress to raise the minimum wage for the nation. Osage Nation's minimum wage is $11.50 an hour. That is higher than state minimum wage, you know, pretty well higher. That was not happening for the casinos. So a bill was brought to us to raise the minimum wage at the casinos to $11.50 as well. And it was presented as the executive branch thinks this is a good idea. And it sounds good. It really does. And do I want that for the people? Sure. But when what it takes is listening and finding out, doing your due diligence. And it really, really is a lot about due diligence. And I believe that I have brought that to the table. The experience that I've had throughout my career, particularly in the Drug Enforcement Administration, where I was employed for 7 years before I came to the nation as a director, I believe that I brought that kind of research and ability to look at the information before me and analyze it, and because it does take that in order to move forward with a lot of initiatives. And so I wasn't for raising that minimum wage for the casinos because I did my homework on it, and I went, and it wasn't supported by the casino executives. It wasn't supported by the Gaming Enterprise Board. There was not much gaming support for it because of the ripple effect that it would have and the cost that it was going to, and it was upwards of, you know, like $7 million after the ripple effect. And then when we got down to it, when I asked how many Osages that would affect, that were under a certain amount for that minimum wage, it was like 35 Osages. And so, you know, I guess if I was standing there and one came up and said to me, you know, well, you didn't raise, I would have to apologize, you know, for that, but not apologize for my choice and the work that I did to get that voted down, because of the overall effect and the multitude of the greater number of Osages that it would support as opposed to raising minimum wage. Plus, I said, but then often, you know, for those speaking who have not been on Congress, it is tough when you're voting, because there's those people saying, you know, we don't care about the people. That was brought up at the time. We don't care about people, or we don't care about children, or we don't care about our culture, because we do our due diligence. And sometimes we can't afford to say yes to everything. So sometimes you really do have to say no, but it doesn't mean that I don't care about children. It doesn't mean that I don't care about culture. But in that particular case, yes, would I like to see a higher wage for those 30-something Osages? Sure. But the amount of money that it was talking about, and nor did we have a study saying that we were not paying those individuals the market rate, then I couldn't support that. And so I felt like I did a lot of work going into that to get that bill voted down. And because I felt that was the right thing. And But if I had to stand face to face with 30-something Osages, I'll do it, but at least I can tell you why. But at that time, I had a colleague said they were going to vote yes for it, and I was like, what? Like, I've done a lot of work. I put a lot of information out there, and someone said, well, I told so-and-so I would vote for it. I mean, we can't do that. That's my point. I'm pulling it back in to say that's why you need strong people to do their homework and to decide, make those tough decisions. And that's what you elect me to do. And I think that's a good example of saying that I was sitting there doing my job, because we can't have people, buddies, friends, whatever, and want to support somebody something just because. And I think every one of us should be able to tell you every time why we did or didn't vote for a bill. And if I have the time to do that with you, and my information is publicly posted at all times, you are welcome to ask me, because I can tell you why I voted for everything that I have. So I know I've shown my video and I'm taking too much time, but I'm not sure. I don't really care to talk about my work resume right now, because I have a congressional resume at this point. I told you all about my work history, trying to get elected the first time, but this is why I've spent the time, and I've showed you some things of what I've been doing the last 4 years, because I'm asking to do this job again, and I believe that I've worked hard. I believe that I've provided good leadership, good communication, and a lot of people running for Congress the first time, they have great ideas of how this is going to work and how this is communication. But I'm going to tell you right now, I've been trying for 4 years, and I've been trying really hard, and I'm going to keep on trying if I'm reelected. But I can't force that to happen. I can just do my best. And Mr. Potts speaks of the Budget Control Act. He often says in the last, because he's been here with us as the budget analyst, and he says we've utilized how many different budget templates. But only thing I wish I could tap him on the shoulder and say, when he's saying that, I wish he would say the executive branch has used that many budget templates. He says we have. So I don't want anyone to think that that's we because he's running for Congress. I want it to be specified that it's been the executive branch who's used that many different templates. And Congress has been trying to get to work together and get the budget under control. So I don't remember what the questions were, but I know one was the $45 million. I will say that when they talk about Congress has been held to $40 million, and that was an agreement that was made with the former Congress. I'll say this much, I've been on Congress 4 years, and I think there's only been 3 years that we've held to $40 million, because we've asked for more money every year. My first year on Congress, there was a $6 million addition. The second year, there was a $20 million addition. The third year, I can't remember offhand. And then this year, $5 million. So we haven't held to $40 million. I don't know when was the last time they held to $40 million. And so here we are now, and we've done this spending. So do I think that we should, it's time for a $45 million? Yes. But if that doesn't happen, there's a lot that's going to have to go. A lot, because we are over, but we've also, because we haven't held to that 40 million, we've been doing this for several years. So it's not just a little bit. I think there's a lot that would probably have to go. And I support Chief and their priorities, which is education, language, and culture. Those are the same things I support, the same things that I vote for. But there's a lot that's going to have to give, especially if we don't end up with 5 million more. So I'm sorry that I'm taking up so much time, because there is a lot to talk about. There's a lot to say. There's a lot that's been going on, and so I would appreciate your support. I believe that I have just put my passion and who I am and my record of service into this job, and I love it. And I I do have 6 children. I believe that I have a good balance of taking care of my family and taking care of my people through my job, and I give it all I've got at all times. And that is who I am, and that is, like I said, I don't want to talk about my whole resume, but that's just how I'm wired, and I will continue to do that. So I would really appreciate your support and your vote for me on June 4th or by absentee ballot. And I am number 15 on the ballot. And so I'm last on the ballot, so please don't forget me. So thank you for your time.